Hey there, this is Mr. Leonard-White, and I wanted to go over a concept today where we discuss dotted notes. If you are learning in the Essential Elements books, in Book 2, it actually, they start us out with a dotted quarter note. Sorry, that's a half note. So a dotted half note is what they're going to start with. And what I really love to just drive home is the fact that the dot changes the value of whatever note it is on. Okay, so this dot right here means that we are going to add 1/2 of the note value. So the dot is always going to change based upon what the note is. For example, if we're in 4/4 time here, 4/4, then the half note is going to equal 2, and half of 2 is 1. So the dotted half note in 4/4 time equals 3 beats. So I want to take the dots in each of these cases, and I want to see what they're worth and then what this equals in 4/4 time. Okay, so essentially I want to look at this and be able to say each of these equals how many beats. Okay, so let's break down this whole note. Okay, in 4/4 time, the whole note equals 4 beats. And then the dot is, think about that, the dot I said earlier equals half of the value. So the dot is half of the whole note, which means I'm adding 4 and 2 together, which means a dotted whole note is 6 beats. Let's drop down to this next one. We already did this, but the whole note is going to be 2 beats, and the dot is going to be 1 beat, because 1 is half of 2. So that means altogether that is 3. Let's do the quarter note. Here's where things get interesting. Quarter notes usually equal 1 beat. Okay, a dot is supposed to be, what, 1 beat? No, the dot is supposed to be half of that note again. So half of 1 is 1/2, which means that a dotted quarter note gets 1 1/2 beats. And finally, an eighth note, same thing, 4/4 time, it gets half a beat. Now we really have to think the dot still equals half of the eighth note. So the dot is 1/4. It's half of half. If you really want to get super tricky, then we're talking about adding unequal fractions. So that means I have to change 1/2 into whatever it equals in quarters. So that means that I'm going to have 2 quarters plus 1/4. So over here, that's 3/4 of a beat. Okay, and that's basically how we break down the dot. If we look at this plain example, again, I'm leaving it in 4/4 time. Counting and writing out my counts is going to be a little bit interesting. So remember, we have 4 beats in that measure, and the easiest thing to do is just to go 1, 2, 3. Let's see, that's the 4th beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we think about which ones we hold through. So over here, this is the easy one, the half note, right? That's long. 1, 2, 3, right? Over here I have this dotted half note, and it's going to equal 2 plus half of a half note. So think about 3 beats there. If I was clapping or playing on my instrument, I'd have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's how it's going to look in your music, as a dotted half note. I think that was out of my frame. Okay, so here I'm still in 4/4 time. I have a quarter note, that gets 1. I have a dotted quarter note. Think about how many beats that gets. Remember, a dotted quarter note gets 1.5 beats, so that's going to be 2, and then and. 3. Here's the next and I'm on 4. So for this example, remember there are all my ands if I was writing them all. So I have a 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1, 2. Here we have it. That's your crash course to dotteds. Just remember that the dot doesn't equal a number. The dot means that we are adding half the value back to the div itself.